Welcome to the Weekly Mac. Today we'll talk about tastes, different tastes and different people. Like the chef Arnau Muñío and the bartender and cocktail expert Mariona Vilanova, we'll have a taste of an internationally acclaimed Catalan voice, Clara Sanabras. Marc Broderick visits Vilafranca del Penedès and he will join Matthew Tree to find out whether the Catalans like the same things as the English and the Irish. This is your talk show in English, The Weekly Mac, hosted by Marcella Topor.
Hi. They say there is no arguing about taste, but it does give people plenty to talk about. We are devoting today's show to it in every sense of the word. And to begin with, we will discuss taste and tasties with an awarded chef from Barcelona and a popular bartender from Girona. We'll be chatting with them in a moment, but before that, let's go over some words that will come up in the interview.
Today, one of our guests is a very famous bartender. The word refers to the person who serves drinks behind a bar, but it can also be used to talk about a person who actually mixes the drinks, as Mariona Vilanova does. You could also say she's a barmaid or a barwoman. Speaking about drinks, we find the word mocktail. Also known as virgin cocktail, it is a cocktail that contains no alcoholic ingredients. Today's topic is tastes, so let's have a look at smoky. If something has a smoky flavor, it tastes as if it had been cured by smoking. And last but not least, trend. A trend is something that becomes accepted or fashionable, a general tendency that many people copy.
To talk about tastes, what better way than doing it with a bartender and a chef? Our barwoman started preparing cocktails at the age of 16, and now she is in charge of Nicteris Cocktail Bar in Girona. And our chef was awarded Chef of the Year in 2018, and he runs Directa Boqueria, a restaurant which is so small it doesn't have any waiters, and it has a seating capacity of only 8 people. Well, Mariona Vilanova and Arnau Muñío, welcome to the program. Hi.
Hi.
It's great to have you here. Well, we start with Mariona. Preparing cocktails. You claim that preparing cocktails is much more than mixing drinks. Why is that?
Because I think that somebody could think that prepare cocktails means to pick up some bottles and put it on the shaker, everything, and then you have the drink. But I think that you need to go further than this. So you have your client, then you receive it, you sit it, then you ask it, him, her, and then they answer you, and then you notice what they want, and then you have to transform their desires in liquid experiences. So to do so, you have to think in few minutes a lot of what you think in your cocktail bar and which is the best ingredient to make this dream come true. So for do so, I think you need to have a little bit of passion, love, and something as a gift to make this dream come true.
Like a lot of intuition also to taste.
Well, intuition.
To guess the tastes of the clients, no?
Yes, and a little bit of psychology also, because maybe what you like is not what you need in that moment to drink.
Okay.
So you have to feel that thing, and I think it is an important. So I always say that not everyone that makes a cocktail is a bartender, as it's not a cocktail bar every place that they serve cocktails. So for me, it's a great difference.
I see. Very interesting. Actually, you teach this art of making cocktails as well, no?
Yes, I am teaching for people which is interested in this Ars Combinatoria.
Interesting name.
Yes, well, well, they like how to prepare cocktails, which things we need to prepare cocktails, and these sort of things that are necessary to achieve the proper acknowledgement to then become a bartender.
I see. What about you, Arnau? Mariona has just said that preparing a cocktail is much more than mixing drinks. Is cooking much more than mixing ingredients?
At the beginning is only mixing ingredients, but if you want to, the difference between good kitchen and bad kitchen is the balance of the ingredients. It's always you are mixing only ingredients, but if you want to say something in your food and if you want that your food have soul, you have to work a lot, and then it's a part of your travels, a part of your history and your your culture. If you want to say that in the food, is more difficult.
Yeah, it's a complicated job, no? But if you're passionate about it, I guess it's easy.
Yes, for me it's easy. It's my way of life, but I know for many people is difficult because it's a lot of hours and it's a lot of work. But I think it's nothing that not everybody can do, but you have to spend a lot of time to doing.
Of course. Well, in your case, Arnau, you run a 14 square meter establishment in Barcelona at the Boqueria market, the famous Boqueria market in Barcelona. And you started this project which has become successful right away. Is it the smallest restaurant in Barcelona?
I think yes. I say that always, but I don't know, maybe it's another restaurant that is smaller, but I think yes, we are the smallest restaurant in Barcelona.
Do you think there are advantages of running such a small place?
Yes, it has advantages, not always, but I have the advantage that I can have the feedback of all my customers, always. I talk to them every day, and I cook only for 8 persons, then it's easy to
so
have my soul there.
There is place only for 8 customers,
Yes.
and that's all, no?
Yes.
And how does it work, the Directa Boqueria?
It's because we are direct with the customer and we are in the market. Then we buy, we cook, and we serve, and this is totally direct for this. When I am doing the project, is the word that all the times repeats in my mind, and then I say, okay, I put Directa. I put this name.
Catalan cuisine with Asian influences. Okay, actually, the other chef who works with you is Asian, no?
She's half Chinese, half Canadian.
Ah, okay. What's her name?
Shu Zhang.
All right. So just the two of you running this
Yes.
small place at the Boqueria. Well, Mariona, tell us more about the place you're running in Girona. Why the name, first of all? It's a very interesting name, Nicteri. What does it mean?
So it's a Greek word. It's a Greek word. So when I was thinking about the project of the cocktail bar, I was in Santorini, and there I discovered a wine which is just made with the grapes proper of the island.
Okay.
And then I read about the history of that wine. It is called Nicteri, that wine. And you know that this country is really warm. To make that wine, they wait until the sun goes down. They pick up the grapes, and this wine is make it during the night.
Oh, okay.
Nicteri, it means to work all night long.
I see.
And then
very interesting.
I said, okay, I will taste that wine, and if it's nice, then my cocktail bar, it will have
And
that
obviously you liked it.
name. Yeah. So
Okay.
wine is called Nicteri, and then I changed and I put Nicteri's cocktail bar just to, in honor of that wine. Yeah.
I see. Well, today's topic is tasties. That's why you're here today to talk about your projects, but also about tasties. I would like to ask you, which are the most surprising tasties you've ever tried?
For me, is the smoked caviar in Echevarri restaurant. For me, is
Okay. Interesting. And you, Mariona?
Well, I tasted a cocktail which was very curious for me, which an Italian balsamic vinegar, coffee liqueur, and anise, and it was pairing with caramelized nuts. So for me, it was really a shock to drink vinegar in a drink, because I used to taste it, you know, as usual. You can taste the vinegar, and I think it was a really interesting experience to me.
Which would you say are the trends, the current, the present trends in cuisine, in gastronomy? Arnau, what is in fashion at the moment? It's difficult to say.
See, for me, I know now everybody says, no, it's the Japanese cuisine or this. For me, this is the fashion 4 or 5 years ago. And I think now that now is to come back to the tradition. To the,
Okay.
I think now is the way.
And how would you describe the food that you cook, if you had to choose a few words?
It's difficult. Well, we do a market cuisine, and I want to use Catalan concepts, Catalan products, of course, but not always in the traditional way, because I travel a lot and I love Asian food, and I love food from everywhere. Then
Yes.
I don't have walls in the time that I am creating a dish. Then if I have some Japanese products or Japanese concepts, I like to mix with some Catalan products, or opposite, no? With a Catalan concept with maybe Chinese flavors.
Something
See,
exotic.
I like to mix, because it's what I like to do. I do what I like to eat. Then
It's easy.
See.
And Mariona, the trends in cocktails at the moment?
The trends in cocktails are spicy tasties, smoky tasties,
Yes.
Asian products as yuzu, something like this, and also the virgin cocktails, non-alcoholic, and healthy cocktails. I mean, also with bio products and more like, and also the reinvented classics, So you have the classic, and then you reinvent a classic.
Excellent. Well, we would love to try a few of your cocktails. Have you brought a cocktail shaker today?
Of course.
Okay, we'll do that in a moment. But we'll continue our interview with Arnau and Mariona right now, and we'll be joined by Ana Priscila Magrinha, who will bring incredible facts about tasties that you probably didn't know. And talking of tasties, do you know what words such as sour, bold or mild mean? Well, Helen Armstrong from International House Barcelona gives us a tip on some tricky words about food tasting.
Hi there, today we're going to talk about food and how it tastes. So let's start with a typical Chinese dish, sweet and sour pork. Now, sweet and sour pork is sweet, which means it's sugary, and sour, which means it's bitter, and it's a combination of both tastes. So sweet, sugary, bitter, and sour all describe flavors or tastes. And without a flavor, a dish can be described as bland, usually unsalted, and people add salt to their dishes to make them taste better. You can also add spices, such as in Mexican, Thai, or Indian food, which means it's really spicy or hot. Now, hot doesn't refer to the temperature. It means maybe your mouth is on fire. And if you've ever had a chicken vindaloo, you'll know what I'm talking about. Now, if you don't like super spicy food, you prefer mild food. And how do we describe food that's good? We can say it's delicious or mouth-watering, which means when you think about it, saliva is in your mouth. And the opposite, when you really don't like a dish, it's disgusting. So, well, now I'm hungry, so I'm off for a delicious lunch. Thanks, bye.
On today's show, we'll introduce you to Adria, a man capable of eating 5 kilos of calçots in less than an hour. Invite him to dinner at your own risk.
Today at the Weekly Mag, we are talking about tasties with the chef Arnau Muñío and cocktail expert Mariona Vilanova. And it is also time to introduce you to our collaborator and expert on curious facts, Ana Priscila Magrinha. Welcome.
Hiya, how are you?
I'm great. Well, I'm very pleased to have these beautiful things here that Mariona prepared for us. So before going to the curious facts, we're going to try these amazing cocktails. So Mariona, can you explain us what we have here. The colors are beautiful. Which one should we try first?
So, well, you have here this one, just prepared in, I have it in my cocktail bar.
The orange one, yes?
Yes, and I thought that because today we have Arnau here, and he's a kind of cooking with Asian products, so I bring something with sake and yuzu,
Okay.
and it's mixed with mango and pineapple. And this was make it in the shaker, and after that I fill it up with a Moscatel wine.
Oh,
Okay.
Now,
super interesting.
should we try it? Have a
Yeah,
sip?
that's it.
Yeah?
So it's very
Afterwards, you want me to tell you things, yeah? Okay.
Yes,
Let's see how,
it will be
how
more
it goes.
interesting.
Okay, salute.
So cheers.
cheers.
Oh, this is good.
Super nice.
Oh,
It's amazing.
this is good.
it's
I need to try it
brilliant.
again. 1 second.
So actually you can eat with that one if you want.
Super balanced.
Thank you.
So you can have a cocktail while you have lunch or
Of
dinner,
course,
for example.
of course, it's a really experience. So people think maybe that they could only eat with wine, with champagne, or beer, but it's a great experience to eat with a cocktail.
Let's go for the second one, which is looks very different.
Yeah.
The glass is different as well. What's it called?
So this is the weekly mag.
The weekly mag.
Yeah.
Wow, a surprise.
Yes, you can try to guess what
Yes.
is inside.
Okay, let's see. I can't wait for this one.
This is a virgin cocktail
Okay.
or a mocktail. It's non-alcoholic one.
Very different
Yes.
from the first one.
Yes.
Also, amazing.
I cannot tell you what it has. I can
No?
tell you I really like it, but I don't know the ingredients.
Is black currant or
Nice. Well-
Exactly like a strawberry, maybe?
You have here pomegranate juice, raspberry and cranberry puree, a little bit of lime, and it's filled up with ginger beer.
Wow.
Wow. Excellent.
super nice?
So why did you choose these ingredients for the weekly mag?
Well,
I mean, you guessed our taste is. Mine, certainly.
I think in your country, I think that plums and berries are really a trend, I think, a tradition.
Tradition, yes.
So
So
I
that's
thought
why.
about that maybe it could be nice to make that cocktail, and also
okay.
because we have this trend of spicy drinks, and ginger beer is really now used to prepare cocktails. So I think it could be a nice idea to bring these ingredients here.
I see you do some research. Well, thank you so much.
You're
Mariona.
welcome.
All right, well, after having these amazing cocktails, I think we can go to the curious facts with Ana Priscilla.
Then I don't know if the curious facts are going to be as good as the cocktails, but let me try. Let me try. We eat really weird things around the world, or things that may seem weird to us. I've gone back in history to find weird tastes from around the world. And the first thing I want to talk about is about the ancient Romans.
Yeah.
They had what it's called garum. It was a sauce. I don't know if you know it. It was pretty intense sauce because it was made out of fish intestines with blood, a little bit of salt, some herbs. They would let it sit for 3 months in the sun because that's what you want for your food, to sit in the sun for 3 months. And then they would use it everywhere, with meat, with fish, even with desserts. I have to say it had such a strong taste, and usually it was used, so imagine that you eat a meat that is a little bit rotten, you put some garum sauce on it, you don't even realize it's rotten. But with the desserts, I don't know.
Would you put that in cocktails, Mariona? A little bit of garum?
Well, I have to taste before, and why not? I'm open-minded, so why not?
I think I would prefer this cocktail than the garum ones. Other things we have with Romans as well, they would have ostrich ragu. I don't know if you have ever tasted ostrich meat. I've never tasted it. But imagine, an ostrich is a pretty big animal. They would just boil the whole thing all together, and then they would serve it with some herbs. And it was a peculiar food for them. It was like eating an elephant. But it's curious. I've never tried ostrich, not even ostrich eggs. I don't know if you have ever tried ostrich eggs.
No, to be honest, I haven't. Well, Arnau, what's the strangest animal you've ever cooked?
The strangest animal is frogs. It's not super strange, but it is something strange that the people from here can eat. Not everybody, but many people, yes. And some insects is a little bit difficult to cook it because many people don't like to eat. It's cultural, no?
Yeah, I guess so. There are still a lot of prejudices, no, about food.
I don't think I would try insects. Like, I can understand people eating them because it's a cultural thing, but I don't see myself eating insects.
Well, I use warm salt in my restaurant.
Okay.
In a dessert, just a little bit. And sometimes I don't say to the people that the dessert have this, but sometimes I say, and it's super nice, super funny to see the face of the people when you say it have warm salt, like warm?
And when you say worm salt, what is it exactly and why? I mean,
It's a product from Mexico. Is the worm that they use to do the mezcal, and they dry it and they mix with smoked chilies and salt, and then the flavor is smoked, spicy and salty. Is warm. You only see a powder. For me,
it could be anything.
But many people is like, wow, warm, and they are afraid, but they taste and they like it, and it's no problem.
I think
it's just a little bit. I just put a little bit.
I wouldn't mind trying that, I think.
Yeah, if I don't see the worm, that it's just
See,
salt.
no, it's not a worm moving, no.
It's not alive.
No, but I think that if you don't say people, depending on what, they can taste it. And
like
after,
it, and
you
like
can, and they say, oh, this is
But
perfect.
that doesn't always work. My mom used to try to make me eat croquetas. When I was a kid, I would just like the chicken ones, and she would try to make me eat the fish ones. And she's like, no, they're chicken, No, Mom. I do know the difference. So sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't work. I don't know if you have ever tried shark. Yeah?
Oh, no.
Vikings, I don't know
Lots
if...
of strange things today.
Shark, well, what Vikings used to do, they called it hakarl, and they would grab a shark, they would let it rot for 6 weeks, amazing, then they would cut it in halves, they would hang it for 6 months, and then they would eat it. I don't know if you would cook that.
No, I never cooked, but I eat in China, and it's super nice. It don't have flavor, the fin, but it's only the texture. It's super expensive, and it's super illegal here in Europe because they are killing sharks only to take out the fin.
And you were talking about frogs before. In the medieval ages, you know, like how we see in the Playboy parties, there's this big cake and there's this amazing lady getting out of the cake.
Yeah.
They didn't invent that. It has been created way before. In the medieval ages, they would just grab crust pie and they would put live animals inside. They would put frogs. It was their favorite. So they would surprise their guests. You imagine you're in a big table having lunch and all of a sudden there's a frog just jumping out of a cake.
That's definitely a good surprise. No?
I don't know. I mean, afterwards, I don't know if I would eat that cake, you know, because the frog inside, maybe it has done things that you wouldn't like to eat, but it's definitely a surprise. I don't know if it's a good surprise. And what else can I tell you?
About maybe in Catalonia, anything, a curious dish maybe that they used to do?
We can go to Escaladei in El Priorat, you know, La Cartoixa d'Escaladei.
Yes.
Monks in there, they had a pond. You can still see the pond in there, and it was a turtle pond. So you say, oh, monks, how beautiful. They have turtles, they took care of them. Yes, they took care of them because whenever a monk was ill, they would grab a turtle, they would cook it, make a really nice soup, and give it to the monk that was ill. So maybe next day we have a cold or something like that, we should try turtle soup.
Turtle soup. Well,
No?
I don't know. I kind of like turtles. I wouldn't eat them.
It's nice, eh? It's nice, the turtle soup.
Oh,
Yes?
see?
Yes.
See?
Really? You've
Yeah,
tried
see,
it?
I tried it in Japan and it's
You
super
tried
nice.
everything in Japan, we should go.
Es que, in Japan they are more evolutionated to
To try different things.
see, yes.
They're more open, no, to trying new
Yes, also
tastes.
in China they eat everything. Es que here I think every time the people is every time eating more, but we are far.
We still need some time.
Way behind, no?
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, Ana Priscilla, very interesting facts today. And in your case, what's the most, I don't know, what's the strangest thing you've ever tried, you've ever eaten?
I haven't tried it because I think it's disgusting, but I just found out the other day that there's such a thing called ham and bananas hollandaise. What is this? You grab mustard, you grab a banana, you put mustard on top of the banana, you wrap it with ham, then you put hollandaise sauce on top of it, and you bake it. I'm never gonna try this because just the sound of it makes me feel sick, so this is the weirdest thing I've ever heard of. I don't know if you have ever tried it. Thank God.
What did you see anyway? Where did you find that?
On the internet,
Of course, of course.
but it's a real thing.
Okay. Well, it's a bit stranger than the deep fried Mars bar.
It's, I think I've tried the deep fried Mars bar. I would never try this thing. At the end of the day, deep fried Mars bar is chocolate and a lot of grease.
Well, anyway, I think it's time to go back to more normal Catalan food, okay?
Let's do it.
Enough strange stuff. Well, and it's February, so the calçots season is at its best, and one of the most important calçotadas, or calçots, contest is held in Valls on the last weekend of January. And today's portrait features one of its greatest champions, Adrià Verzin, who is capable of eating more than 5 kilos in 45 minutes. And the first time Adrià won this contest was in 2002, and now it's already a tradition in his family. So, let's see it.
Hi, my name is Adrià Verzin. I'm an industrial engineer, and in my free time, at least once a year, I go to a calçot eating contest, and usually I win. When I was young, with friends, we had some bets, typical man versus food bets. Back in 2002, I got a friend who called me and he just asked me, "What are you doing on Sunday?" And he was like, "Okay, I know about the contest and we just inscribed both." He picked me up and we went to Valls. And I was amazed because I didn't know about the contest and it's very popular in Valls. And there was a lot of people, like 30,000, something like that. And we started eating. It's 45 minutes eating, and then they weigh the quantity of calçots that you eat. It's not about the unit of calçots, it's about the weight. So after 45 minutes, with a little bit of hangover, because I was like coming from party, with my friend we said, okay, it's okay, the contest is over, so let's go back to Barcelona. I just turned around, and it was like TV that you cannot leave because maybe you won the contest. And yeah, confirmed, you are the new champion and you just beat the home champion that has been winning the contest for about the last 3 years. People get a little bit mad about calçots when the season is coming, and I was a little bit surprised because it's only eating onions. I've lost against the former champion maybe twice or 3 times, but it was not very clear because they are very proud of the home champion and kind of little suspicious tricks during the contest. When you are in a traditional calçotada, when you peel the calçot, you just dip it deep in the sauce. The sauce is very good, it's very tasty. In the contest, when you dip, you go as fast as you can, so you dip just the point of the calçot and then you eat, and it's a matter of swallowing fast, and then resilience all the 45 minutes that takes the contest. There is a lot of participants that are after 10 minutes or quarter of hour, they just quit. They cannot stand. Last year it was 5.8 kilos, and my daddy was 2.4 or something like that. And for him, he was very proud because he's 73, so it's like, yeah, I'm an old man, but I stand. I don't feel any pressure. It's not like Rocky Balboa's training. No. In my normal life, I drink a lot of water, like 3 or 4 liters of water per day. I'm used to have the stomach full of something. For me, it's another Sunday. Take the family, I take the friends, and we go there. We do the contest, then we make a barbecue. After, I will be coming back every year, just because it's funny.
Welcome back to the Weekly Mag. Today we are discovering tasties with 2 awarded experts, the chef Arnau Muñío and the cocktail bartender Mariona Vilanova. And our collaborator Ana Priscila, who has brought some interesting facts, will help with our mystery question, the question of our interview that our guests will have to answer in an absolutely honest way. Isn't that right, Priscila?
Yeah.
So how does it work? Can you tell our guests?
It's a really easy game. I'm sure you're gonna be fine with it. There's this vase with a lot of balls, and inside the balls there's a mystery question. So each one of you should grab one, and you have to read it out loud and be completely honest about the answer. We're gonna know if you're saying the truth or not, so watch out.
Okay, so good luck. Who goes first?
Here you go, venga.
Okay, that's the good one.
See, no?
Okay,
This is the one.
Let's see what it says.
Where is your secret place on Earth?
Japan. Sorry about that.
No, it's true. No, it's Kyoto in Japan. It's the feeling that you have when you are there, and I hope my dream is one day to can open a restaurant in Kyoto.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if maybe it's a dream that I never do, but it's one of my dreams. Yeah.
Let us know whenever
I
you...
super love this. It's because it's the old Japan. It's the super traditional Japanese. Everything is the artisans. I love the city, and I feel super comfortable there.
We'll visit you whenever you open your restaurant there.
Mariona, it's your turn.
Let's do. Yeah.
Okay, Mariona, your
this
time.
one. Okay.
Don't be shy.
No. Okay. The blue one.
Let's see what it says.
Too long.
Yeah, it's a long one.
So, what is the product that has been in your refrigerator the longest? Wow.
What's the product that has been?
Has been in your refrigerator the longest?
Difficult question.
Maybe it's still there and now it walks on its own.
Well, could be, but no. Normally, I analyze my refrigerator weekly.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Well, every day, because we have lots of ingredients. So we try not to forget about any cucumber which is at the end, and it's maybe died. That's, yeah. Any fruit maybe. Any fruit that you maybe have forget about for your holidays time. And then when you come back, you say, wow, I have to take it out. Not only this, yes. But we used to check the...
You cannot ask questions like this to a person who is related to like cooking or drinking, because obviously she's gonna check it every day. If you ask me the question, you go to my fridge now and you can find pretty old stuff.
But you ask me in my job, not at home.
Oh, okay. What about home?
Home,
Things change at home, yeah?
Yes.
Everything is
I
more
spend
relaxed.
more time in job than at home. So maybe one cheese. Maybe one cheese. We converted, you know.
Now it's blue cheese.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so are you satisfied with the answer?
I am satisfied.
Okay, fair enough, I think. Well, and before we end the interview, there is a sentence, Ana Priscilla, that I know that was nagging you, which says, with great power comes great responsibility. Mm?
That's because Americans don't know the Catalans autònoms, yeah?
And we have two of them here. You both run your own places. Are you satisfied with the experience, or you'd rather work for somebody else?
I'm super satisfied because I think autonomous, we are the only profession that we are never sick because
You can't afford
because
it, no?
we always have to work. Then we never be sick in our lives. This is a joke, but this is my dream 1 year before. No, now my dream is to open in Kyoto, but before my dream is to own my restaurant for all the 20 years that I was working in the kitchen, and now I'm super happy to do that.
Okay, Mariona?
Yeah, well, actually, when you make your dream come true, you have to be happy instead of everything. So all the good things are for you, and also the bad. But then you have to balance and to think about your situation before and to compare with now. So I have to do so. I'm really happy to have my business on my own, of course.
Excellent, everybody's happy.
Yeah.
And with this note, we can end the interview. Thank you so much, both Arnau and Mariona, for coming.
Thank you.
The best of luck with your places in Girona, Barcelona, with Nicteris and Directa Boqueria, Arnau and Mariona. Thank you. And thank you, Ana Priscilla. Cheers.
I'm gonna finish this.
Until next time.
See you next time.
Enjoy it.
Thank you.
And if your boss tells you that you seem full of beans, don't assume he or she is calling you fat. Before you put your foot in it and give the wrong answer, consider that it can be an expression that means something else. Our teacher, Tim War, explains the actual meaning of this and other English idioms related to taste and food.
Hello. So today we're looking at some idioms and expressions related to food. We're going to start with 3 expressions just with the word taste. The first one is to leave a bad taste in your mouth. So maybe this is when you feel uncomfortable about something. Maybe if you're watching a TV show or a film that makes you feel really uncomfortable and bad, you could say, oh, that left a bad taste in my mouth. Maybe if it's a comedy film, maybe the jokes are in bad taste. They're in poor taste. So they could be really obnoxious, vulgar jokes that make you feel uncomfortable. Another expression with taste is we talk about an acquired taste. For me personally, olives were an acquired taste. When I was a kid, I didn't like olives at all. But as I grew up and I tried them more and more, I acquired the taste. We can also talk about acquired tastes when we talk about things like music. For example, some specific bands, but the first time you hear them, you're like, I'm not that into it. But then maybe you listen to them again and again and again, and you end up being a big fan. We're going to move on to some idioms now about specific foods. The first one is to be paid peanuts. This one means to be paid a really low salary. And as they say, if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Meaning if you don't pay enough salary, you're not going to get very good workers. Speaking of monkeys, we've got another expression, which is to go bananas, or to go nuts. And this means to get very, very excited or very, very angry. For example, quite often, I teach a lot of classes with kids, and sometimes when they really enjoy an activity, or if they don't enjoy an activity, we can say they go bananas, they go crazy, they're bouncing off the walls. Another expression we've got is to cry over spilt milk. Maybe something bad happens to you, it's already in the past, there's no point crying over spilt milk. The problem is already gone, it's already happened. And sometimes that's life, you know, bad things happen. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. This expression means that, you know, that's life, things happen, you've got to move on. And then the last 2 expressions we've got are specifically about beans. One of them is to be full of beans. Again, talking about kids, when they've got loads and loads of energy, we can say, wow, the kids are full of beans today. And then the last one we've got is to spill the beans. And this means to reveal a secret. So maybe if you're planning a surprise party for your friends, a surprise birthday party, make sure you don't spill the beans. Don't ruin the surprise. So that's the end of our food idioms for today. I hope they're useful. Try them out with your friends.
Nature unfathomable, beautiful day.
A Catalan artist who's born in France, lives in England and sings soundtracks of Hollywood blockbusters. Can it get more international than that? Today at the Weekly Mac, Clara Sanabras.
Locked us in chains, wrongly concluding that our minds in our brain.
At the Weekly Man, we want our audience to have fun, and one of the ways to do it is taking part in a competition. That's why we have put on a quiz show. It will involve contestants here on the set, but also people on the street to help us with the action. But first things first, let me introduce you to our quiz master, Tony Garcia. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you. I like the thing.
How are you?
Quiz master. Quiz master. I like it.
Okay, it suits you. Well, tell us about this new show. Guess what?
So welcome to the first ever game that I invented. It's called Guess What? And it's basically based on what other people think. So it's not knowledge, it's about imagination. Okay, I'm gonna be the judge of everything. And I'm happy to introduce our guinea pigs, our volunteers.
You mean
Patricia Escalona.
You mean our contestants.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Or something.
Mario Serra.
Did I was a volunteer?
Volunteer, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, apparently we did volunteer.
Yeah.
Today we are playing the happy ending game.
Looks good.
Mario's interested.
I love happy endings.
The thing is, we're gonna see 3 videos, okay, with people talking about embarrassing situations, things out of normal, and then we're gonna stop the video before the ending, and you have to guess what happens next. Incredible.
Embarrassing situations such as this one?
Sounds fun.
They mean, right? Yeah.
Okay.
This is an embarrassing situation for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna give you 1 point for every right answer. Okay, but the answer, even if it's not right, but it's original,
1 point.
Point.
Okay.
And at the end, there's a big reward for the winner.
Excellent. Well, sounds good. So shall we begin, Tony?
Yes, please.
Over to you.
Let's go for it. So the first video, it involves a Danish mother leaving 2 children in the street and the reaction of these 2 children.
Okay.
So let's go for it, please.
When I was little, around 3 or 5, my mom left me and my twin sister on the street. Like, oh, I don't know these girls, I just go. But can you guess what it is?
So this was the beginning of the story.
Yeah.
So, guess what?
I feel it's very difficult to imagine a situation.
Guess what happened afterwards, right?
I can give you a clue.
Okay.
Oh, please.
The sisters didn't cry.
Didn't cry?
They didn't cry.
That's good.
Oh,
It's a good one.
That was in a party. For instance, one of the friends had a party, and just the mother said, "No, my God, 1 point, 1 point for me." Is it? No.
No, I don't think that's it. They ran away together to an enjoyment park or something and rode things all
That's
afternoon.
much better. Let's go for the ending.
Me and my sister pulled down our pants, showed our asses to the people in the town, pulled them up, and just got out to shop like nothing happened. And my mom just, oh no.
Okay.
Well,
All the points for them.
I would never would have thought of that. I mean,
It's amazing. Showing your ass is always, a good thing.
When you are 3 years
When
old.
you're looking for your mom.
don't you get any ideas, please? Okay.
Anyway, Patricia and Marius, did you ever embarrass your parents?
Not like this. Well, I didn't show anything at all to anybody, but once I remember that one of our neighbors was called in the family a crocodile because he got a very big mouth. So when I was 3 or 4, I just told him, "Hello, Mr. Crocodile," and my parents were quite ashamed, but I didn't show anything at all.
I did. I was a spawn of the devil.
What did you do?
Everything. I ran away all the time. They left me like, I remember this time in, there was this sardana school in Plaza Catalunya when we were little.
Oh yes, El Corte Inglés Sardana School.
Exactly. I didn't like to dance sardanas. They left me there and I just, you know, went away for a walk. And when they came back, I was 6 or something like that. When they came back, where's the daughters? Like, nobody knew. The police were searching for me. And I was like happily sitting somewhere.
When they came back, you were doing the jota.
Yeah. That could have been. So, but yeah, that was one of the many times I embarrassed
So
them.
I'm sorry to say that it's 0 points for you.
Thank you so
0
much.
points, Patricia. 0 points, Marius.
That's nice.
Let's go to the next one.
Okay.
I hope this time we can get it right.
Whoa.
Let's go for it.
Okay, let's see.
I'm from India. So once I went on a trip with my family. In the northern parts of India, we have like the coldest city. It's called Manali. So everything was scheduled, hotel and all. So we went by directly by car. So what happened is the temperature before we went there, we already checked. It was really warm. But as soon as we reached on the altitude, it started snowing all of a sudden, and then we were trapped. Basically, the car was stuck in the snow, and we couldn't move at all.
So, my friends,
what happened?
What happened next?
They built an
Guess
igloo.
what?
They built an igloo and they lived there for 3 years.
I like this one. I like this one very much.
Happily ever after.
Marius?
They bought a heater just to not have any more snow.
Okay.
Where? Where can they buy a heater?
Just.
Do you want to see?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, please.
Well, I think they managed it. I
Okay.
think they got some help.
Did you see the video before?
Well, I can't answer
Well,
that.
I can lie.
I'll tell you later.
Okay, let's see the end of it.
We had to walk like 4 hours at night time from like midnight, and it was completely dark, and you know, like it was even dangerous. We could just fell off the, you know, the peak of the mountain. So it was really tough. So somehow we managed to reach the hotel, but it was a really good experience at that time.
Okay. As long as you can think of it as a good experience, fine.
I
but
think it would be easier to
build
build
an
an
igloo.
igloo.
So I'm gonna give 1 point to Patricia. Very good answer.
Thank you.
Could be. Marius?
No,
Sorry,
no.
0. 0 for Marius.
Oh, we have one more story.
We have the final one.
The final one.
The final one,
Wow.
yes. It's because, you know, we are really close to Valentine's Day. So the last video is dedicated to love. The thing we all enjoy and love. Please, video.
He's 17 years and I 16 years. And he come to home to my parents and climb to my windows in the tree tonight. He came, no clothes, no nothing, just underwear, no nothing.
So yes, he climbed naked.
Climbed
to see his girlfriend.
Absolutely naked.
With the underwear.
The underwear.
What happened next?
Well, I
Marius,
think
please.
He came.
Give it thought. Think about it deeply.
Deeply?
Yeah. What would happen?
Yeah, that would take some time. We need to be
Sex.
quick. Come on. Sex. Okay.
Sex?
With whom?
Just the word sex.
Sex.
Good one. Patricia?
I thought someone called the police, saw him and called the police or something, and he got arrested. Because that's what you think. You know, if you see someone naked climbing your, house.
But they are still together.
Well,
Yes,
but someone
that's-
else,
that's
like
a
a
clue.
neighbor or maybe the
That's a
parents
clue.
or something like that.
No, that's a clue. So
That's a good one, Patricia.
let's see our Romeo.
Romeo,
and what
Romeo.
he thinks about the end. Please, video in.
I don't know, I sleep. Just for love.
Didn't even realize.
Exactly, my friends.
That's fucked up.
But I have a question.
You?
Yes.
Well, I'm not
She
surprised.
says he was naked climbing, but she didn't notice because she was sleeping.
She's lying.
Yeah, well.
She's lying.
There was sex
Well,
that
she was
night.
She's
so-
lying.
There was sex, definitely. Yep.
Maybe she was told the story. She actually
Exactly.
didn't believe it.
No,
By whom?
I came to your bedroom naked. Liar! You didn't do anything.
There probably was sex that night, although maybe not with the girlfriend. Maybe he found someone else to have sex with, since he was naked at all.
I have a question for you. What's the craziest thing you've done for love?
Oh. The craziest thing you've done for love?
I haven't, so...
No?
I'm really boring that way.
Well, the craziest was to hire a helicopter.
Eh?
Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow.
To impress a girl that was with some little boys on near Rocacorba, and I came with an helicopter.
And was she impressed?
Yes, she was.
I imagine so.
But just impressed.
What do you
Because
mean?
she was scared as well, and she thought that I wouldn't be a very good a good man for her.
Really, a good partner.
No.
Very sad story, Marius.
Yeah, because it was 40 years ago.
You're okay now, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm okay.
So,
results.
1 point for Patricia.
You're so stingy. Why 1 point? I would like
1
to have
point.
like 50 points or something like that.
Because
Wait, everything will come.
we have the budget. We are on a budget. So
With
it's 1
points?
point. Yeah,
A low
50
budget.
points is a lot of points. So you had one, and now I'm going to give one to Marius because the sex answer. Because I think it's the correct answer, even if they lie.
Okay.
This quiz is over, but because it's a tie, 1-1, we're going to have a special question. And the one that gets the question right gets the award.
And also 20 points.
And 20 points.
20 points. Wanted more points, so yeah. If you get it
because
right, 20 points.
this is the Marcela's question, and she has the power. So
Yeah,
it's
I
20.
have.
Yes.
20
points.
Do you want me to say the question?
Please.
Okay. So the question is, the boy who is in the video, the Romeo guy, which color are his trousers?
You mean in the video?
In the video.
Because
Because
when
he
was
wouldn't
no, wearing
he had
no trousers at all.
Climbing.
I'm guessing, because I can't remember, white?
You say white?
Yeah.
I'll say black.
Okay.
Okay, black or white?
Black or
We have a winner!
Okay.
Patricia.
Yes, yes.
Patricia, you won.
What do I win? What
And
do I
I
win?
have something for you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, honey.
Congratulations.
This is what I think it is, a doorstop. Fantastic.
The thing you always wanted. Yes.
It's heavy enough, I can use it against you.
So hit me with him.
But we are not finished with games yet. We like our audience to play too. Starting today, Marius is going to bring a new puzzle on every show for you to think about. And we begin right now with the first enigma, Marius.
Yeah, well, that would be like crosswords, that you have to guess just a word by a clue. In British newspapers, they are very difficult. For instance, they used to say, an example, the coldest city in Czechoslovakia, in the former Czechoslovakia, and everybody was thinking about a four-letter city, Brno, and it was Oslo. And they told, why? Because Oslo is in Norwegia. Yes, but it's inside Czechoslovakia, right? That's a trick. That was a trick. Today would be very easy, I think, the first one.
Okay.
And that's the clue. The most brilliant relative of 3 letters. Can I repeat it singing?
Please do.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Here comes the most brilliant relative. 3 letters.
The most brilliant relative, a 3-letter word. Does it suggest any ideas? Well, while you start thinking about it, let's take a short break and we'll be right back with the international Catalan singer Clara Sanabras, our collaborators Marc Broderick and Method Tree, and many more interesting things. Don't miss it. Welcome back to the Weekly Mag, and we are halfway through our show focusing on tasties. And speaking of tasties, How do you like your travels? Well, I hope you like them long. And today, our e-speaker section takes us to a faraway land. It is the world's 6th largest country, and with more than 36,000 kilometers of coastline, it is also known as the island continent, and Chris Smith tells us more about his homeland, Australia.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm 31 years old from Perth, Australia. I've been living in Barcelona for the past 2.5 years. I work in Poblenou in a company called General Electric, and most weekends I'm with my girlfriend in Vic. Australia, as you know, is very far away, more than 24 hours on the plane. Interesting to know that there's less people that live in Australia than live in Spain. So a lot of people think that Australia is a really big country in terms of population and also size, but actually Spain is bigger when it comes to people. Obviously in terms of size it's huge, it's the same size pretty much as Western Europe, and there's lots of space. So one thing I noticed between living in Spain and living in Australia is that in Australia we have much more space. I'm from Perth, as I mentioned before. And if you go to somewhere like Perth, you have to go to the beaches. Everyone goes crazy about the Australian beaches, and it's true, they're amazing. But I have to admit that if you do go to Australia for a holiday or to visit, you have to go to Sydney. Sydney, it's amazing. It's got the Opera House, it's got Bondi Beach, it's got all the famous landmarks, and it's a really nice place as well. So I would say beaches, wherever you go, but if you have the chance to go to Sydney, then make sure you go there. The Great Barrier Reef, yeah, that's also really nice. If you like scuba diving, the only thing is you have to be careful about sharks. You can't go to Australia without talking about sharks. So yeah, it's great fun. I haven't been there myself, but I know that a lot of people like it, and it's a very popular destination. Australia is interesting because it's a young country. It was founded in the 1700s, so we haven't got too many famous historical figures like countries like Spain. So in terms of historical figures, I would mention a guy called Sir Donald Bradman. And he is an exceptional sportsman. He was one of the best cricketers in the world. If you have a chance, give him a quick Wikipedia, because he was probably one of the best sportsmen that ever lived. And a lot of Australian people are very proud of him. The thing that I most miss about Australia in terms of food is that we eat a lot of lamb there. I have to say it's my favourite type of meat. Here you have a lot of pork products, a lot of beef, but I really miss the lamb in Australia. So I would say that the most typical food from Australia is lamb, along with other Asian types of cuisine. So Australia is a little bit like Spain in the sense that in summer everyone goes crazy and has a really good time. December in Australia is like August here for Spanish people. So I would say that one of the best things about Australia and the best traditions that we have is to spend almost the whole summer on the beach. And in particular, the 26th of January is our Australia Day, and everyone catches up with their families and has a really good time, a barbecue, etc. All the typical Australian things. And that's probably the biggest tradition that I miss the most about being here.
We know design and Barcelona go hand in hand, but did you know the Museum of Design? Discovered today at the Weekly Mac.
Today we are delighted to have with us here an internationally acclaimed Catalan musician who has performed around the world, from Sydney Opera House to Buckingham Palace to the very Kremlin. And you can hear her voice in a number of Hollywood original soundtracks as well, such as The Hobbit or The Hunger Games, and she sings in many other on stage, for instance, Titanic or The Lord of the Rings. And we are pleased to welcome today Clara Sanabras.
Hello.
Welcome, Clara.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Well, you have written about 6 albums. You have performed around the world. You play many instruments, but still here in Catalonia, you are not as popular as abroad. Why do you think that is?
define the word popular. I suppose you start there. It was never my intention. I was so focused on the music, you know. I was an obsessive kind of creative mind, and my favorite environment when I was studying was the library, you know. So a progression from the library to the popular culture is quite a long journey if you think about it, you know. And so I suppose, you know, you have to be lucky, but also you have to want it really, really bad, or you want to seek it. And so for a long time I was distracted on that journey, you know, because I was focusing on the music.
Maybe also because you lived in other places apart from Catalonia. At the moment you live in London, but you were born in France.
Yes.
And also spent part of your life here in Catalonia. How do you think that has influenced your career?
Well, I'm a bit of a chameleon, so, you know, I've always had this capacity to adapt to my environment, you know.
Lucky you.
I try my best. I don't necessarily hide, but, you know, I can easily just sort of incorporate my ways to the new environment. And then that comes at a risk, with a risk as well that you lose yourself, your original self. And then you have to find your original self and then function in a given environment, a new environment. So it's a very interesting process, and I've done it enough times now that I come to understand it. You know, before it was very disconcerting and disorienting, but now I like it.
You like living in London?
I like living in London. It's interesting
you live in a very
times.
nice neighborhood.
I do.
Heard.
Yes, it's very lovely. Stoke Newington, which is the birthplace of feminism. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Did you have a very good English when you moved there?
Zero.
Zero?
Zero, pretty much, because I went to French school here in Barcelona, so the French was at the forefront of my brain. And then, you know, I had simple English to just get by, but then I had to really struggle. And then there was because I went to a music school, there was the language of music, which is an international language. So, and then finally, I was...
Actually, you come from a musical family.
Yes.
Right, your parents, and not just your parents, but you've got more relatives who who made from music a career, no?
That's right, yeah. My great-grandfather was Joan Llongueras. He was a musician and pedagogue, and he imported the method called the Dalcroze rhythmic method of dance for children to this country. And then, yeah, there was many intellectuals and musicians in my family, so I've been very lucky that they've pointed me in that direction.
And since today our topic is tastes, which are yours? I mean, musical tastes. Your preferences, just a few of them.
I just like such a broad variety of things. When I was a teenager, I was on a strict diet of Johann Sebastian Bach and a group called the Cocteau Twins. I found a common denominator in those two things, but people couldn't believe that my tastes in music were so broad-ranging that they would go from something, you know, like Bach to something very experimental, which was the Cocteau Twins, when I was listening to them. So, and I'm a very curious person. I don't like to decide.
And you learn fast also, no? I know a story, well, I read a story about you when you were required to play the mandolin, which you weren't actually playing.
Yes.
So how did it end?
Yeah, I was at the National Theatre in London, and they were looking for a singer who could also play the mandolin. And, you know, they rang me and they said, do you play the mandolin?
And you said, I'm the one.
Yeah, and I said, yeah, I play the mandolin. And then I hung up the phone and I rang someone, said, who has a mandolin? You can lend me a mandolin and I can learn the part, obviously not the mandolin, but the part in 2 weeks. And it's a frightening thing to do, but for me it's important to take these big risks because, you know, when you take these risks is where the biggest safeties are found. You know, if you always sort of hide behind your safety zone, you know, the things that you know, then you're never progressing. You know, if you're me, this is the way I do it. It's not an easy path, but it's an interesting path.
You have performed very famous soundtracks of Hollywood blockbusters, but from all of them, the ones that you've performed, which were your favorite?
Well, for Titanic, I was chosen by the composer himself, James Horner, who's no longer with us. He died, in fact, very tragically that week when we premiered the show.
Really?
He crashed his airplane, which he was an amateur pilot. And so the whole thing, you know, with Titanic and the boat sinking and having met James, who was an extraordinary person. But basically I had collaborated with him on another movie soundtrack. And when he was convinced by other people to do Titanic live, he then said, I want Clara Sanabras to be Celine Dion, which was quite a shock to me. I was delighted, and you know, it was not something that I'd done. My music was always
like
been
a
more
great challenge, no?
Yeah. So he chose me for that. Therefore, my heart is closest to that film. Yeah.
Your new album, now that you mention it, it will come out in
late March.
In late March, it's called
Fugue to the Floating World, which the fugue is a musical form.
Yes, exactly.
But in Latin languages, the fugue can also be as in fugitive. So it's a sort of cryptic title, but it's a whole album about the idea of escaping somewhere.
And what's interesting, also we should mention it, that these are your own drawings. You also said to me before this interview that when you write music, you can visualize it, right? You can see these drawings. How does it work?
I have my brain works as sort of, I have photographic memory, and so when I create words, they show themselves to me almost as pictures first. It's a very strange thing, but the whole thing, it's a bit like the Renaissance man, you know. And my mind works in a diverse way. So when I first feel the song before I write it, I see it as a drawing.
Wow. Okay, and apart from this album, do you have any projects in the pipeline in the near future?
This year I've got a very exciting project. I'm collaborating with the great Ray Davies, who's the singer of the Kinks, and he's a legend. He's a legend, and I was part of a performance where we presented an album, the Village Green Preservation Society, which is the 50th anniversary of it this year, as an oratorio of Englishness, so we presented the songs. I sang a few of the songs, another singer sang the others with a choir and a small orchestra. And my partner Harvey Brough, we conducted, and we presented it to Ray Davies, who came and gave us his blessing. So we've got that in the pipeline. I think the project is now becoming something else, perhaps a recording, perhaps a tour. But yeah, it's a pretty exciting project.
Okay, well, good luck with it, Clara.
Thank you.
And before you go, what are you going to sing for us today on the stage of the Weekly Mag?
So this is a song called The Woods, and it's my meditation on what the world is made of, you know, pictures, sounds, words, or meaning.
Well, Clara, thank you so much. Good luck with everything, and good luck with the album as well.
Thank you, Marcela. Lovely to meet you.
Well, and while Clara Sanabras gets ready on stage, let's take the opportunity to listen to our next language tip. Eat out, for instance, is one of the many interesting phrasal verbs we can use related to eating. And we want to learn some more from our teacher, Tim Guinea.
Hi. Today we're talking about food, and I have to say it reminds me of my best friend Eliza. Now she's someone that you would call a gourmet. She loves thinking, talking, and writing about food. Now we often eat out together. So when you eat out, you go to a restaurant. And we can't wait to tuck in or eat lots of different types of cuisines. Now, one bad habit that I have with my food is I wolf things down. So if you wolf things down, you eat like a wolf. You don't chew properly and you eat very quickly. And it's not the healthiest. Now there's something that neither of us do, which is another bad habit, and that's when you pick at food. So when you pick at food, you take small little bits, you don't eat properly. No, Eliza and I, we like to eat up. So we eat everything on our plates. Now, eating out isn't the only way you can get food. You can also take away. And we have our favorite takeaway. It's a Japanese restaurant. Now, Eliza managed to butter up the manager there. So if you butter somebody up, you make them like you. You maybe compliment them. So she managed to butter him up, and we got some extra special food. He always gave us more. Well, that's not a problem until we realized that we were probably putting on a bit of weight. So it was time to cut down. And if you cut down, you minimize your food intake. You don't cut it out completely. So don't worry, Eliza and I still manage to pig out now and then. And if you pig out, you get to eat all the foods that you love in big quantities. So the next time, happy eating, and I'll see you.
Nature unfathomable, dutiful dame. She mixed and she modeled us of clay and of flame. Science indomitable locked us in chains, wrongly concluding that our mind's in our brain. And these are the words that pave the path. These are the numbers that make up the math. These are the words that pave the path. These are the numbers that make up the math. What's then this marriage between cause and effect? The horse at the carriage, the whole scene is a wreck. Mr. and Mrs. went out for a stroll. Lucky coincidence was out on patrol. She said, there's no going back. Gone are the days. You must now consider your separate ways. And these are the words that pave the path. And these are the numbers that make up the math. Then she continued, I've traveled alone. The treacherous paragraphs written in stone, chapters destroyed on the bookshelves of doom, through deserts of Freud, across oceans of you. What are these words that pave the path? And what are these numbers that make up the math? What are these words that pave the path? What are these numbers that make up the math? Of memories where love is in bloom, where meaning is master, where music is key, where thoughts travel faster than the many of me. For there are no words to pave the path, there are no numbers to make up the math. There are no words to pave the path. There are no numbers
Today, Marc visits Vilafranca del Penedès to ask people about their tastes and make them taste what? Stay tuned for our Here and There section.
Barcelona, a city linked to design since the Universal Exhibition of 1888, created its own Museum of Design 4 years ago. A huge collection of decorative arts, ceramics, textile and clothing, also graphic arts, can be found there. The museum is located in the Design Hub Barcelona building, a piece of art in itself. And through its different galleries, one can see the evolution of arts and tastes. That's why we went there with Robert Thompson, a professor at the Elisava School and a specialist in materials training at the FAD, which is the Association of Artists and Artisans.
Hi, this is the Design Hub building, and my name is Robert Thompson Delano Casas. Having a center like Design Hub in Barcelona is a coherent thing because most cities that are of international importance require places like this that can function as a hub so that people can observe different sides of industry, of education, of innovation, of science in general. I personally love the building. It gives me this kind of abstract, dynamic shape. It also reminds me a little bit about Star Wars design. I don't know if you recall, there was a vehicle in Star Wars that had this kind of shape. I've visited the museum several times. I think it's a beautiful space. The building lends for this type of appropriation of space because of the levels that it has. The museums are fantastic also because they have permanent expositions. They also have temporary expositions. I've seen several expositions on fashion and industry and music and culture. I really enjoy that. However, to be honest with you, I spend most of my time here in the -1 floor. I've been working here now for a couple of years. There are very few centers like Materfad, so that's another thing that we're lucky to have here in Barcelona. We are a connection institution. We're a non-profit, and our main function is to connect various fields. From art to science, it can be from nanotech to medicine, it can be architectural and art, and so we function as this kind of catalyst and on one end, and at the same time we function as a bridge so that knowledge can be exchanged between completely different areas. And so that has been my main function in the last 2 years, aside from researching and studying all the materials. And here we have about 4,500 materials, which is a lot of different materials, of different sections, of different walks of life, everything from handmade to nanotech. We have that here. I am actually more focused towards organic, biological materials, and more recently, my interest has been more towards materials that have been recovered from trash, basically. And so here we have a collection of different examples of some materials that you would never say came from the trash, and instead they do. And so that's one of the lessons. The concept of trash is a cultural concept, and I no longer see trash as trash. I see it as opportunity because I see what the material is, and I know that material can be transformed. Material is an expression of our experience of life in some way, and so it's kind of like when you smell some perfume and it immediately triggers a memory. So this happens often to us. It happens often with materials that are retro, or a little bit retro, or materials that have been often used in things that were incorporated into toys. We have pigments, for example, that are phosphorescent, and people are used to seeing those in the stickers. that they put on as stars on ceilings. But then what happens is that they see that there were and there are many more applications of the same technology. So it's strange. You see their memory become a new, updated version of the memory.
They say that there's no accounting for taste. Each of us have our own personal taste and sometimes even dislike things that other people love. Is it the same with countries? Do the Catalan, English, Irish have different cultural tastes? We'll find out in our section Here and There with our usual collaborators Matthew Tree and
Hi.
Marc Broderick.
Hi.
Hello and welcome back.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
Well, today we've talked about tastes in food. Let's talk about other tastes, for example, in fashion. What do you think of Catalan fashion?
I think you have excellent taste in fashion. I love Matthew's T-shirts, for example. Every single
they're
week
quite famous.
we always have these wonderful T-shirts with these great slogans written across. So I think that's a good way to start.
Yeah, I like the shirts actually, but unfortunately they're not mine. Yeah, I can't walk away with them.
But anyway, would you say this is Catalan fashion?
No, I think he's got better taste than most Catalans. I'm sorry. I have this.
Really?
Yeah. I think that here the fashion sense, especially among the younger generations, has always. Because I work with children, I work with teens, and I see all the latest fashion trends coming down. They repeat the 80s, they repeat the 90s. A couple of years ago it was the 70s. They have like the skinny jeans. No, now the big thing is that the ripped open. Like, why don't you just buy a pair of jeans, get a scissors, and snip them? Rather
What
than
happens?
paying.
You don't have ripped jeans in Ireland?
I honestly, I don't know, to tell you the truth, because I don't go back that often anymore. But here, from what I see with the youngsters, the adolescents growing up, I mean, the skinny jeans is a big thing, let's face it.
Yeah.
The man bun has come out of nowhere in the last couple of years, you know, like Gareth Bale with this kind of thing. I mean, I probably can't grow one now. I don't think you can either, Matthew, I'm sorry.
Well, just give me a bit of time, you know. But
it'll take you a couple of years.
No, but that's one of the things. I mean, you were saying about teenagers, and it's
Yeah.
absolutely right. I mean, this thing about having those skinny jeans ripped.
Yeah.
By the way, all in exactly the same place.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
probably done by workers in Bangladeshi, underpaid workers in Bangladesh.
Professional rippers.
Professional rippers who themselves would much prefer to have a nice pair of jeans that are not ripped. I mean, the whole thing is so crazy. But it's not only teenagers. That's the weird thing. You often see people well over the age of 30 or even over the age of 40, or you know, middle-aged men especially, who like they want to keep young, so they have a man bun and they have ripped jeans and skinny jeans and stuff, and it looks even more ridiculous than the
A lot of these
teenagers.
Instagrammers, these influencers, no? These like middle-aged Italian men who go around with this guy, Gianluca Vacci, I think his name is. He's a big Instagram star. He dresses like a 15-year-old boy, you know? Like, but getting back, I mean, here in Catalonia, because of as well the clothes, like a lot of the clothes I try to buy here doesn't fit me. I mean, I have to go to international stores, like Spanish design stores. I cannot buy clothes there. Everything is like, I can't even get it over my feet. And I mean, I've got big feet, but I can't even get the jeans up over. I don't know where you buy yours, but.
Yeah, I just go to the large size section in the Corte Inglés chain. You know, I just go straight there because otherwise there's nothing that fits me at all. And in England, I was trying to think, but in fact I haven't been back for a while either. But the last time I was there, I just got the impression that people under 20 were wearing exactly the same clothes. Lots of sweatshirts with hoods, lots of ripped jeans. The skinny jeans thing seems to be a slightly bigger thing here.
Tracksuits? Do you guys get a lot of tracksuits in England?
Yeah,
In Ireland
loads,
as well. A lot of
loads,
people wear sports
yeah.
gear, like tracksuits
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And then they do the opposite. Like during the week, they have these really casual, like I'll wear a tracksuit and I look like I just rolled out of bed. And then at the weekend, it's like the complete opposite. It's like really short skirts or like nice shirts and things like that. So here as well, I have to say that they find a bit of a balance. Like they never go too formal and they never revert back to this kind of lazy, like let's just put on my pajamas and walk around, you know?
Well, at least something positive, Mark, because you kind of destroyed everything so far.
Okay, something positive about here, I can tell you that the women, I'm sorry, the women dress really well here, I have to admit. Yeah,
okay.
they have a nice, it's classy, but also with taste, no? Whereas, as I referred to already, the Irish and the English, you ever been out at night time in England, in Liverpool or Manchester or Dublin, and you see the girls walking around, it's 5 degrees and they're in high heels and short skirts, and you just don't understand. I don't understand it. I don't know what to...
In some of those towns, like Manchester as an example, the police late at night go around and they're equipped with flat sandals, because a lot of the women, when they've had a little bit too much to drink, they fall off their high heels. And the police, literally, seriously, they're there with sandals so that these women can actually get back home okay.
So they
it's a curious story.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's continue with Catalan taste for food. Where have you been to discover
this
this
week Vilafranca del Penedès, a great, well, it's very famous obviously for its wine, its cava internationally, but also I think it's famous for a black-footed chicken, I believe, which I thought was quite funny. It's a very specific chicken from that region. And but first of all, in the video we didn't really ask what people liked, which is kind of boring. No, we asked what people don't like, which is always a little bit more fun.
Okay, let's watch the video.
Vilafranca del Penedès is home to a wide variety of different local products, from cava, wine, black-footed chicken, all the way to truffles. 1,000 euros a kilo of these babies. This should sort my rent for the next month. What's the most disgusting thing you've ever tasted? Something that you just went, oh, I can't taste that.
Some kind of worm that I tried in Vietnam. It was super disgusting, especially because it's chewy. So you put it in your mouth and move. And
once I tasted like bravas.
I don't like liver.
It was very, very spicy.
Biting a lemon, it's not tasty at all.
We've got something for you afterwards.
I think snails.
Whoever thought snails tasted good must have been crazy. Ugh. And you?
Cheese. I don't like cheese. It's very bad.
And you?
Fish.
Fish.
But fish is very good for you.
No.
For me, for example, I don't like the fish.
And you? What's the most disgusting thing?
I like beans.
You don't like beans?
No.
Do you think that Catalans have good taste in general?
Yes, of course. Here in Catalonia, there's a good life, a good food, good people. So it's amazing, everything.
Are Catalans risk takers when it comes to taste?
Yes.
Why?
So, like, they eat melon with ham.
Ham.
Yes, melon with ham.
It's like really risky, huh?
It's a good tradition.
Good taste.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which country do you? Allegedly, it's very funny. Okay.
Because a woman like this with.
We didn't see her. She didn't exist. Which country has the worst taste, do you think?
The food in India or something like this.
Marrakech.
Why?
It's piquant. It's
spicy.
Spicy, very spicy, everything.
Okay, very good. Good one.
Japanese, I don't like the fish when it's not cooked.
Okay, raw fish to the Japanese.
Germany, I think. The Frankfurters and the hamburgers, I hate them.
The British or the Philippines. They eat a lot of fast food and the taste and everything is terrible. In Asia, it's the worst.
Good taste.
A woman like this with.
We didn't see her. She didn't exist.
Well, good job, Marc.
Yeah, it was good fun, and it was nice to get some small kids speaking in English, huh? I thought it was a good...
Really good English as well.
Yeah, they were excellent, actually. And I mean, I teach, as you know, I'm a teacher, I teach small kids, and I was surprised. I thought in Vilafranca I had this idea, you know, sometimes you go places and you don't imagine that you will find many people that speak English so well, and it was a pleasant surprise, I must admit.
Lots of people who don't like many things, no?
Spicy food.
Spicy
yeah,
food.
that was the main thing, actually. The one that I got out, and I did talk to a couple of people afterwards off camera and all that. The thing that stood out for me is that Catalans, I think, from the little that I know, don't like spicy food. and I don't understand why. It's wonderful. Matthew, please tell me, you like spicy food?
No, it's...
I love it.
It's,
yeah, you like a marcella?
Yeah, I love it.
It's odd here because if you go to a Thai restaurant, an Indian restaurant, whatever, they very carefully point out the dishes that are hot, spicy hot. And I found that so weird because I was used to going to, you know, Indian restaurants in London where they serve food exactly as they would serve it in India, you know, without any concessions. But here they're quite careful with the public.
Anyway, is there anything from the Catalan cuisine that you guys don't like?
Oh yeah.
One thing only, and I should like it, kind of thing. It's like one of your interviewees, snails. And I remember one of the most uncomfortable moments I had was in Lleida, where snails are a huge thing. They even have a thing called la plec del cargol, where they eat thousands of the things.
Caracolada, no? They have a name for all of these, no?
Exactly. And I was invited to someone's home, and as a special thing, they did nothing but snails on trays and everything. And I sort of picked my, I don't, you know, it was just snails. It's basically snails.
Close your eyes and just imagine it's a prawn from the garden. You know? That's what it's like. It's a prawn that lives in the garden, okay?
Use your
That's as much as I can do. It actually is not
spicy.
that bad for me, honestly. The thing that I actually still kind of feel unwell thinking about it is carn d'olla, this meat that they boil inside the soup. I had a really bad experience with it. I don't know what it was. Maybe it was just a bad experience, as in it wasn't well cooked, but even just the thought of it. I remember I was talking to Matthew beforehand, and we was talking about how he makes great carn d'olla, and I was like, Matthew, don't make that for me. If I ever come to your house, please don't make it for me.
Well,
not a fan, not a fan.
What about Catalan culture?
Their taste.
Literature, for example.
Literature. Well, this I'll have to pass over to the expert because I honestly, I don't read a lot. I read the comics like Garfield. That's about as far as I get these days.
I had this idea when I started reading it, which is the idea most foreign people have of Catalan literature, that it was going to be something very parochial, a little boring, talking only about local issues, something like that. And in fact, what I discovered was this literature that right at the beginning of the 20th century, there's novels that are talking about prostitution, about violence, about drugs, about mental illness, with an incredible frankness, like often quite...
And it's when you started to be more interested in Catalan literature.
Yeah, because it was like, you know, it was, I mean, in England they were reading E.M. Forster at the time, you know, who would never openly talk about any of these subjects. He would talk about them maybe subliminally, but not openly. That kind of, they were almost taboo subjects in England at the time. And you find here you are in what is supposedly a conservative Catholic country like Catalonia, and this fiction is being published. Often there were scandals. There were novels about adultery that they tried to ban, novels about rape, which they tried to ban, but no, they became Catalan classics. And the contemporary literature is, well, it's you know, it's comparable to world literature from any other area, you know, because the great thing about literature is it doesn't really matter how many people speak the language. You can have a masterpiece in Catalan and a masterpiece in English at the same time.
No, but speaking about literature in general, I mean, Ireland is a home of great literature. I mean, if you study English at any university in the world, you're always going to come across people like James Joyce, Bernard Shaw, Jonathan Swift, all of these, like the writer of Dracula again? Sorry, Bram Stoker. All of these amazing. But one of my favorites growing up was I don't know as many people. Roddy Doyle. I don't know. Maybe you know. Have you heard of Roddy Doyle?
I've heard of him, but I've never read him.
He writes a lot of stories about inner city Dublin, and they actually made a lot of movies out of his books. There's one called The Commitments about so this kind of literature I enjoyed because the Irish literature, especially the contemporary stuff, is very heavy on bad language and very heavy on the way that you talked about how the Catalans wrote about rape and they wrote about like things that were taboo. We couldn't do it in Ireland because of the church, obviously, and stuff like that. So they got around it by using tons of bad language instead of actually getting to the crux of each issue, whether it was mental illness or stuff like that. So we do have good taste in Ireland of literature, and we have excellent writers. As I said, I haven't read a lot of Catalan stuff, so I cannot give you a proper comparison that maybe Matthew has. But
Anyway, have you
you my
asked the people from Vilafranca about cultural issues?
not really, no.
Not
I
really.
can't,
So
no,
what's
that's
the next video about?
Basically, I got them to do strange things with their tongues and things like this. I had a little bit more fun this time.
course.
It wasn't so
Why
investigative
should I be
this time.
surprised?
Exactly, a little bit more fun, a bit light. So
Okay.
you had a bit of fun.
Well, let's watch it then.
Okay.
What else can you do with your tongue apart from taste?
How many things?
Difficult question.
That's why I'm here.
Kiss, maybe?
French kiss. Nah, very good.
This one.
Like this.
Can you do it again for the camera, please? It's okay, everybody does the same thing. It's hilarious. Can you? What else can you guys do?
We can also sing.
Okay, sing a song.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Awesome, awesome.
Well, nice singing.
I had a little bit of fun this time. I'm trying to have a little bit more fun on the street with the kids,
Only
getting
this
them
time.
singing, getting them to do funny things with their tongue. There was one guy, I don't know, did you see? He turned his tongue upside down. I couldn't do it. It was like putting his tongue out and like turning it all the way around. Everybody else did the normal one like that. Can you do it, Matthew?
No, absolutely not.
Come on.
No.
You have to.
And I can't wiggle my ears or
Okay,
do
stop
anything
it.
like that.
Stop
no.
it, Mark. Listen, do you find that the Catalan taste for music is different from
Oh, God.
the
Don't get me
Irish
started.
taste for music?
I'm not a fan.
You're not a fan?
Not a fan of the music in this
Okay.
country,
So
in
first
any part of the,
fashion, now
the
music,
peninsula.
You're not making too many Catalan friends today.
I'll tell you, my first experience many years, in most of the times that I've ever been in bars or gone out to a discotheque, as what they call them here and stuff like that, my ears have been bombarded with this pachanga music, this reggaeton music. It's painful. My ears were bleeding. I mean, in Ireland, again, I go back, we do have decent...
Jesus, we're bleeding.
My ears were bleeding. They were like, please,
Jesus,
stop
that's
me
quite
listening
serious.
to this. Stop me listening to this music. That's not to say, let me get back, that there aren't excellent musicians here. There are amazing musicians here.
Thank you, Mark.
But in general, when you go out and you want to go to a bar or you want to go to a or a disco, whatever, the music is terrible. You have to agree, Matthew.
No, because in Ireland, you always say that you have such great music.
We have a lot of pubs that have traditional Irish music, live music, etc. Like the idea is a little bit different. I don't know, Matthew. What do you think?
In England, do you think that in England is different from Ireland from this point of view? Music tastes?
Musical tastes. It's hard to say. I don't. Yeah, I'm more into listening to singer-songwriters out of England, out of the United States, or out of just about anywhere, including here, including Catalonia. And I haven't been out for a long time. I don't go out anymore, But when I did go out...
That's what happens when you get to a certain age.
Yes, thank you, Mark. I was waiting for that one. But when I did go out here, I used to go out to places in the center of Barcelona, and they played mainly Anglo-American music. They didn't play electronic music, electronic dance music. They didn't play the stuff reggaeton or anything like that.
There's a lot of electronic music here as well. As you know, Ibiza is just off the coast, and Ibiza is like a center globally for EDM, electronic music, techno, house, etc. So that has a massive influence on the coastline here as well. No, in summer times, the parties outside, and a lot of bars, I think, feel under pressure that they have to play this kind of music because that's what the people want. That sometimes they might be afraid to, take a jump and say, hey, listen, let's have a few singer-songwriters. Let's have a live band playing on, on the street. It's not to say they don't do it, it's just not the most normal thing you would see.
But the interesting thing I found out about Catalonia, which I found quite surprising, is that the music they listen to here, 13% is in the Catalan language, 44% is in Spanish, but an amazing 33% is in English, which is a language which means that many of the people listening to it don't actually understand the lyrics because which would be quite normal. But that's so weird. And I found that 67% of Catalans listen mainly to pop rock, but an incredible 35% listen mainly to singer-songwriters, which I'm sure is a proportion that's much higher than people in either England or Ireland.
Do you think it's because they're more interested in what the people say rather than the actual music? Because for me, honestly, the music is like, you know, it can be like draining, but I think people here probably listen to more what the lyrics say and the meanings, and they're more like,
exactly.
going back to the literature thing as well, no? Like people maybe think more here. I don't know, am I shooting myself in the foot here with this comment? But it's a thing that I think about
sometimes. It's exactly that, and I used to have, when I discovered sort of Catalan music early on, like in the late 70s, early 80s.
Really early on, yeah.
Really early on. I was, yes, thank you, Marc. Thanks for hammering it in.
We missed that.
Sorry.
But
I can't help
I was listening to people like Lluís Llach, Maria del Mar Bonet, Raimon and stuff, who were very big at that particular time. And the lyrics were so good. I was just astonished by the quality of the lyrics. And I used to argue with friends in London because, you know, I said, look, in comparison with these lyrics, the lyrics that you get in Anglo-American pop rock, the music's great, the music's fantastic, but the lyrics are often cliched, mediocre, monothematic, you know, they're all about love.
Bloody Ed Sheeran or, oh my God, this kind of stuff like...
Let's continue with Catalan Tasties for Culture and find out more things about the people in Vilafranca del Penedès. What else have you asked them in the last video?
You'll be extremely disappointed that I didn't get anything cultural out of them in the third video. I did, however, play a little game with them, okay?
A little game?
Test their taste buds. It's a little game. I used to do it with the children at school. We used to do it in class, and I said, let's give it a try in the street. See how good their taste buds are refined in Vilafranca.
Okay,
all right?
Let's find out.
Okay, Danny, I got a lemon and a lime for a little game for the people on the street. Open your mouth a little bit wider. Okay, all right. And then the second one.
The first one is the lemon, and the second is the lime, I think. Yes or not?
Open your mouth a bit more. There we go. A bit wider. Yeah, okay.
Arran. ¿Verdad que fácil?
In we go. All the way in.
So yummy.
Yummy.
Yum. The second one. The second. Awesome. There we go. You don't have to take it. There we go. Okay. What's the first one?
Jan.
Lemon.
Lemon.
And the other one?
Like orange. Eh? No.
Lemon and orange.
That is sour too.
Exactly.
You.
In Vietnam, they don't have lemon, so they only have lime. And then the word is chang, and chang, when you look in Google Translator or you translate, it's lemon. So they don't have this, doesn't exist. But they only have this.
Excellent. That's perfect. I think that closes the game. That's brilliant. Thank you. You can take this off.
Well, there you go. I'll tell you, lemon and lime is a tricky one to do, but I have something else for you now. A little taste challenge, if
From
you might call
Vilafranca?
Well, I mean, they'll kill me in Vilafranca because I've just destroyed their whole wine country. No, we've gone for something different. We've gone with Coke and Pepsi. The difference between Coke and Pepsi. You seem very confident straight away, Matthew?
No, I just remember all those things about the Coke and Pepsi wars. You remember those ads where they used to attack each other? Two almost identical drinks.
Exactly, they're almost identical. Yeah. Actually, the American one, which you cannot buy here, the Dr. Pepper, would have been a good one to find as well. But anyways, so you have two glasses in front of you. I'd like you to take a sip, if it's possible, from the glass on your left. Okay?
Okay.
First, the glass on your left. All right? Let's see. You don't have to swallow the whole thing, Matthew, just a little sip. Wait.
That was a little sip.
Don't say anything for a second. Ready? Okay. Now.
Okay.
Let it. You know, like a good palate. You know, like a good red wine. Now the one on the right. Give it a go.
Okay.
Let's see. I'm absolutely sure you guys have excellent taste palates. So I'm not worried really. It's quite. But as you saw, like people do confuse the lemon and the lime with the name and the taste. Let's see how you guys get on with this. So, let's see. Marcella, ladies first.
Okay.
The one on the left, what is it?
I have no idea.
You have two choices. It's
I have to
Coke
say something.
or Pepsi.
So I would say the
Okay.
one on the left is Pepsi.
Okay.
And the one on the right is Coke.
Okay, and Matthew?
I think exactly the same.
And both of you are exactly wrong. It's the other way around. The one on the left is Coke, and the one on the right is Pepsi.
But that's impossible. I used to be addicted to Coca-Cola.
Well, then
Jesus.
somebody has played a trick on me, and they've changed because if both of you said that it's on the right, you know what? Do you mind if I taste? Yes. Sorry, yeah? Because now I'm doubting my own ability to remember things. Hold on a second. Yeah, the one on the right is Pepsi. No?
Really?
The one on the left? Hold on a second, huh? Yeah.
Okay.
I found, I don't know why, but I think Marcella and I probably said it for the same reason, because the one on the left is a little more insipid, and the one on the right has a slightly stronger sugary taste.
Well,
I think what's very clear is that either I'm very, very wrong or all three of us have no idea what we're doing. Okay, so let's go to the next challenge, okay? The next challenge is a little bit more complicated.
Are you sure about the places? Is everything in the right place?
I could have got it confused when you were looking away. It's possible, it's possible. Now I'm doubting my own ability to tell. Let's move on to the cheese before I forget which one is which.
Okay, so?
I'd like you to try the cheese on the left first, and now you have to tell me whether it's goat or I was going to say cheap. If it's goat or sheep. Yes. I don't know how cheap they are, okay? Which one is goat and which one is cheap? Sheep.
Are we supposed to use the fork?
Yeah,
or?
they're both cheap.
You can use a fork or your fingers, whatever you feel more comfortable with. This one should be slightly easier. You guys are probably cheese connoisseurs. And it's not...
Connoisseur.
and lactose intolerance is not a problem here.
Like experts in cheese eating. Okay.
All right, not a fan, no, Marcella?
No, it's really good.
Yeah, it's all right? All right, let's see.
Not cheap.
It's not it's not cheap. We don't know which one is which. So, this one I know for sure.
This one is easy.
This one's easy. Okay, so we'll start with you, Marcella.
Well, this one is sheep cheese.
Which one is that one? The
one on
the darker
the right.
one.
Yes, the one on the right. I think it's sheep.
Very
definitely.
good. It's sheep
And
cheese.
the other one, of course, is goat.
Very good. Very good. I think I'll have to clarify the whole Coca-Cola Pepsi dilemma after the show. I apologize for that, but I have to.
You know what I said that the
disagree
Pepsi
with
was
you.
the one on the left. I wasn't sure, but for me it was a bit like chronological order, because on my childhood.
Yeah.
I only drank Pepsi because Coke was not really used in the Eastern countries at that time.
Okay.
So I started to drink Coke much later in my life. So
It's the same for me in Ireland. We had Pepsi.
Really?
Yeah. That's why I'm almost sure the left one is Coke and the right one is Pepsi. But anyways, we'll solve this dilemma after the show.
Okay. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. It's been fun today.
Yeah, it has indeed.
Mark, thank you.
No problem.
And Matthew, see you next time.
See you next week.
And this is all for today. It's been a long show. We have discussed international food tastes with the chef Arnau Muñío and made some cocktails with Mariona Vilanova. We've heard Clara Sanabras' beautiful voice. We had some fun with our new quiz, visited Vilafranca del Penedès, and we dredged up Marc Broderick and Matthew Tree's secret tastes. Oh, not so secret anymore. If you've missed any of it, remember you can watch it online or follow us at The Weekly Mag TV. But before we go, we still have Mario Serasi's unsolved puzzle. You have 1 week to think about it. And remember, we are after a 3-letter word. And here's the clue: the most brilliant relative. Stay tuned for the next The Weekly Mag for the solution. Goodbye, and remember, keep your English up and running.
No words to pave the path.